Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. So, I don't know if you've noticed, but my old bench is back up here. When I did the Jurgensen reviews for you, those videos, when I started planing on that bench I had up here before, oh my god, it was wobbling all over the place. I said, you know, this isn't cutting it. I brought the old one from downstairs back up. Honestly, I've been talking about building a new bench for a while, and I was just about ready to go do it, and it looks like I'm moving. And since I'm moving, I don't want to build a bench for this small room and then move somewhere where I could build a bigger bench and be stuck with a smaller bench. So I'm going to wait till I move, build an appropriate bench for where I end up with. So we're back upstairs with this, and I need some more benchtop holding tools, you know, jigs for this bench. And the first thing I want to do is just make a few of these. These are just little bench dogs. They go in the dog holes, you know, just like this, and you can plane against them. You can put a board in here like this, take a plane, and go to town. And, you know, they work very well. These are just little test ones I made with crappy pine. These are going to break. I have some oak now. We're going to build a couple of good ones. And then we're going to build a bigger one that will go out here for a plane stop. So let's start with a couple of small ones like this. So what I need to do is grab my little piece of oak. I'm going to use this, and I need to cut a couple of pieces down to, I'm going to go with about 2.5, 2¼ inches, whatever we end up with. Okay, there we have it. I know some of you like to know dimensions, so I will tell you that we are 2.5 by 1.5. So a good size. And what I want to do now is put a hole right in the center of this at 3/4 of an inch. And we'll go to the drill press and cut the hole. Alright guys, sorry about that. We have a nice hole, 3/4 of an inch, in our board now. And all we have to do now is get ourselves a piece of dowel. Home Center, 3-foot oak doweling. I believe it was under $3. Very inexpensive. It might have been 3 and change. What I need to do is get myself about a 2-inch piece of this as well. The measurements don't really matter. You just want something long enough that it goes, you know, into your dog hole and through the dimensions of your stock. And the thickness of your stock really is up to you. I like to have some thicker, some thinner. This, so you know, is 1/2 inch. So this will work very well for a 3/4 inch board. I'll have that 1/4 inch where the plane will fly over it and it won't affect it. So let's give ourselves a 2-inch piece of dowel. And that fits nice and snug. Now before I put this together, what I want to do is put a little bevel on the faces of this. Just something on a very, maybe 2-degree angle so that when you push into it, it's pushing down a little bit. It just helps keep the board flat on the table. I'm just going to take this and take my block plane, and I'm just going to give it a couple of swipes. You know, it's kind of funny. My hand planing, sometimes I make an angle by mistake. Now I want to make an angle and I'm cutting it straight. So go figure. Okay. There I have a little bit of an angle. We'll do it to both of the long sides. I'm not going to use the small sides on this. Okay. Now all you got to do, take the label off the dowel. I would pick the piece with the label on the dowel, right? Take a little glue. Put it in the hole. Now you got to make sure you get it right here. You just made an angle. You want the angle going from top to down inwards. So I want this like this. And this is just snug enough that I can almost push it through. And one little tap with a mallet. All right, I did two. And we're snug. I have squeeze out all around here, so I know this is going to be a good joint. And when it's dry, you put it in a dog hole. You take a piece of lumber, and you have a nice bench dog that you can plane against. That's all there is to it, guys. Alright guys, I mentioned I was going to make a longer one, and I'm going to make it this long. And for this one, those bevels that I want to put on the sides, I'm going to put it on here now. Alright, I'm just going to put a T here so I know that this is the top, because those angles are kind of hard to see, but they're there. Now, what I want to do is, this bench doesn't have dog holes on this side yet, and I'm going to do those in my next video. The video I do next week for you is going to talk about all kinds of other things you can put on a bench to do, you know, holding of your project. I just needed to make these, so I want to do this video making them, and then next week we're going to go through using them all. And that's when I'll drill these holes out here to show you how it goes. But I'm going to make them to match holes I have on this side. So what I want to do is get my holes on this. And this is going to be a little bit difficult, but I need to get, you know, the first one will be easy. I'm going to go to the drill press and drill the first hole. Okay, I got one hole drilled. And it goes in there nicely. Okay guys, I sped this up a little bit because it took me a while to figure out how to get this hole exactly right. But what I did is I took my speed square and I marked exactly where the dog hole is on the bench, and then took those marks from the bench top where I wrote them to the board. And then you're going to see here, I'm going to take my square and bring the lines around to the top of the board so that I can have my mark to go to the drill press and cut the hole. I'm going to go back to the drill press. I'm not going to take you to the drill press for this one. It's just a quick hole. Looks like we got it. So let's get ourselves two sections of dowel. You've seen this before. And we want 2 inches. 2 inches is just really random, guys. It's going through a 1/2 inch of oak, and then you got 1.5 inches going into your dog hole. You know, if you're not 2 inches, if you're a little off, it's not a big deal. You just want to be long enough that you can go through your material and get enough purchase into the dog hole that it stays. And I did notice that my sawing technique in the beginning of this video was pretty bad. I was on an angle like this, which meant I cut angles in my dowels. Doesn't really matter, but you should always try to do the best you can. Now, we just want to glue these in, and I'm very, very interested to see if I actually hit these holes right. So let's get a little glue. Top. So actually, yeah, let's put the top down. There we have a nice, big, long one that magically goes in the holes. That was luck. When I drill these out here, it'll be a little bit easier, but you know, if you take your square to your bench and measure the lines correctly, you can actually get this to work. So here is a length one, and what do you do with this? Because I don't have the holes out there yet, I'll show you how I do it here. You're going to have to look at my back a little bit, but I'm going to try to make this work. So then you would just use it as a stop and plane into it. Now, I hope my back is not in your way. I'm going to try to do this. I'm not comfortable here, but you just plane into it. I'm going to drill 2 holes out here, and this will end up being here. But as you can see, I could use it just as easily on these holes. Okay guys, so here you have some very small ones for smaller boards. This is a 1/2 inch thick, this is 3/8 of an inch thick. So you can make them different thicknesses. They each will go in to a dog hole fine, and you can plane up against them, and they work just fine. This is, you'll probably want to know, so I'll tell you. The length means absolutely nothing, by the way. You can make it any size you want. 14 inches. Lee Valley sells these. The nice thing about theirs is they're aluminum. They're only about, God, 1/8 of an inch thick, and these dowels slide, so you can put them in any dog holes. I got a little lucky getting this to actually fit in here, but you know, sometimes it's good to be lucky. Next week we're going to do more. We're going to talk about some benches, some vices you can put on your bench, and some holdfasts and some other tools you can use on the top of a bench. And we will totally make this bench up here usable until I move and build myself a proper bench wherever I end up. I hope you like this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.